experiences, and I am super excited about today's topic of why you don't feel like you deserve good things, or maybe just why you feel unworthy in general. If you're new here, my channel is dedicated to helping people face challenges while they recover from emotional abuse or CPTSD, and also how to navigate tricky situations and challenging people. I've also noticed that being an empath, that the healing journey from any sort of abuse or neglect is it's a little different. It's experienced differently than other people per se. I don't know if you're familiar with Rebecca Lynn Pope. She's a great life coach. I've learned a lot from her. She has a term called good-hearted people. And that references, people that have good hearts, where they care about others and they want the best for others and they have good intentions. And a lot of times empaths fall into that category. And I think that's why I struggled so much with different therapists and life coach as I try to make sense of my life and get some traction, is unless someone is an empath and experiences life in that manner where you've got so much information being thrown at you and you really want to present in the most highest road possible, it's hard for them to give helpful information. So from one empath to another, I would love to share any sort of examples or information I have that's helped me on my own journey. And unworthiness and not feeling like I deserve something, I didn't realize how closely they were connected. And until I actually connected with the feeling of deserving and I'll get more into that later, connected with that feeling, I wasn't able to make traction on my goals. It's critical you actually do connect with feeling like you deserve. Okay, so hear me out. I stiff-armed, I guess is the best way I can say this idea for the longest time. Just a few years back when I was trying to figure out what was going on with my marriage and if I should stay, if I should go, and what's happening, what is happening to my world. And different advice would say this and that. And, of course I've got to vet everything myself. This is not a rash decision, friends, right? But I would hear at times people say, you deserve this or you deserve that. And it did not resonate with me. I'm like, I don't know if I deserve it, but I do think I want a relationship where it's a partnership, or I feel like I'm being heard. I could take specific things and go, okay, but I do want more. Like the way things were working wasn't sustainable. And, but the idea of deserve, it just felt so off-putting to me. Like, who do I think I am? Like, what do you mean? Now I deserve this and I deserve that. It felt very demandy, and I just couldn't connect with that idea at all. So depending on where you are at with reconnecting to yourself and establishing your worth again on your journey here, I got to a point where I was so I wasn't putting up with toxic behavior anymore. I had boundaries in place for protection for myself, where I valued my worth. I wasn't going to put up with toxic behavior. I wasn't going to put up with manipulation. I wasn't going to put up with shame. There were some key things like that really helped me gather my strength and start to take control of my own self-worth. But then when it came to goal setting, like, okay, now that I'm not just in survival mode anymore and I'm ready to start hitting some goals in my life and make traction, and I would get excited about that. So for example, with finances, it's like, okay, I'm going to get out of debt and I want to save $10,000. That felt like a good cushion to me. It felt like a good start. And I would make the budget. I was really good at planning it out, and okay, this is what I need to do. And it would just, I would do it for a bit, like maybe a month or two, and then it would all fall apart. Like, I'd be at TJ Maxx getting something for my daughter or something that was on budget. And then, like the shiny spring dresses would talk to me like, ooh, and it's not like I didn't have willpower and self-control, because I did. And it's not like I can't do hard things, because I had, just looking at the past, like I had suffered through quite a bit where I was miserable. I mean, miserable, but I was suffering through, doing the best I could and dealing with it. And I knew I could do hard things, but for some reason, this felt too hard. It felt out of reach. In that moment where I need to apply the self-control and do the hard thing of passing up on that dress, I really struggled. And, if I'm not doing that consistently, I'm not going to meet my goal. And after a few months of that, I sat down and I was in my meditation time and I was praying to God, and I go, look, what is it? What is it? I don't understand. Like I know with trying to make a desire happen, like, okay, I've pictured my desire. For me, I have to have a good intention with it. You don't have to create your desires. I mean, look at, famous people like Trump or whoever else you want to pick, who's manifested, millions and millions of dollars. And I question his intentions with that. So you don't have to have good intentions, but for me, I did in order to believe in the goal. It was like, what is it? Like, I know this is doable. Why am I struggling so much with this? Like, please just show me. And the idea of deserve came up. Like, you don't believe you deserve it. And I was really shocked by that, because part of me does believe I deserve it. So I was like, I do, like, anybody deserves that. Anybody that's, got children and, anybody deserves to be out of debt and to start their savings and to start what they're growing, right? So that doesn't make sense to me. So I said, okay, well, show me how I'm showing up this way. And God reminded me, before I put an end to accepting toxic behavior, such as someone shaming me, right? Someone shaming me and trying to prove I had hurt them. So I had a close family member who would message me about once a month, long messages about how I hurt them. And half of it was just lies, was just made up in their mind. This was a hurt person, and this was a pattern. So it wouldn't surprise me when this would happen, right? And I just, chalked it up to, they're hurt, blah, blah, blah. But I never said anything about it, and I never stood up for myself until I decided I deserved better, until I decided I deserved more. And then replied to this person, hey, if you have a problem with me, please call me on the phone. Because when that person messaged me, it wasn't just a blow off. It would be a blow off now that I've gotten to a greater vantage point, but I was too close to the situation at the time. I was just gaining traction on building my boundaries. And so when that person would message me, it hurt and it sucked out energy and life. And I kept waiting for that message to come every month, kept waiting for my, monthly flogging. And when I really got true to myself and said, okay, this hurts me. I'm not going to put up with it anymore. I'm putting a boundary up here. If you have a problem, please call me. Do not message me if there's an issue anymore. And then I kept to that boundary, and then, crickets went by and some time went by, and, we'd have the nice messages again. And then that next month, the message, cycle came back around. But instead of me just letting it go, I kept sticking to my boundary of, okay, if you do this again, I will block you. So I was sticking to my boundary because I really believed I deserved better. So to jump back to the finances, it was easy for me to see how I deserve that spring dress. Like any mom, who, I care about myself and I want to, take care of how I look. And I think it's a good example for my children. And, it just helps me feel better and then makes me better all around and better as a mom and just in general. So of course I deserve that dress. But then when it came to the greater goal, as in me not putting up with abuse was way easier for me to see. I deserve to be treated well. I deserve to be treated like a normal human being. I don't need to put up with abuse. But now when it came to goal reaching, and it's kind of like defense and offense in my mind. Like not putting up with something anymore is the defense, and the offensive version of what I deserve is me reaching toward it, because that would get shaky. I would like, this won't really hurt my goal, or this won't really, like all those little things that I would let get into my head to keep me from my goal. Now, when I realized I felt like I didn't deserve it, and I've really embraced the concept and the feeling. As an empath, it's important that you embrace the feeling of something. That's how you're going to connect with it the most and get the most traction. And so I would connect with the feeling of seeing myself not just enjoying that situation and that life circumstance, but embracing it. Like, that's who I am. Like, remembering who I am. This is part of remembering who I am. And it just, those painful moments of the hard work, of, I'm passing up. Is that dress on my budget? Not right now. Not right now. It was so much easier, and so much easier to gain traction and have the consistency I needed. I'm not quite to my final goal yet. I just want to be honest with all of you, but I have made traction finally. The traction is sticking. So I just wanted to share with you something that was really vital in the next step of just thriving as an empath and as a good-hearted person, and how you believe in yourself. I'm going to add on a tidbit here at the end. How can you tell you're not believing in yourself besides you're not reaching your goals? This was shown to me too, and I really want to share it. Because I really believe in healing where you're at. Like, I get the root issue is from like birth, right? Like eons ago. I get that, and that eventually comes out. But I really believe in healing where you're at. So as far as self-worth goes, look at your thoughts. Not just what are you saying about yourself. If something positive comes into your sphere, do you deny it? Do you just, brush it off? Do you receive it? So, for example, growing up, if like a boy was looking at me, or they're staring at you or whatever, I never would allow myself to think, oh, he thinks I'm pretty, or oh, he likes me. It was always immediately I would push that thought out and tell myself, oh, I must look like his sister. Oh, I look like somebody he knows. Oh, there must be something wrong with me. That's why they're looking at me. And I mean, that's part of, shame from growing up. But right there, if you don't accept positive things about yourself, you're not going to accept more. That is how you grow it. Those are the seeds. So if someone pays you a compliment, receive it, accept it. Also, I wouldn't accept things I liked about myself just in general. So for instance, I remember a couple years back, I was doing this online form for empaths. Like, okay, this is really interesting and I definitely relate to this. And if I, let's just do this fun little quiz and it will tell you what kind of empath you are, right? It's a fun quiz, lighthearted, let's do it. Filling out the form. The question that asked, do you feel other people's emotions? So I think that's a really cool thing I'm able to do. I don't do it all the time, and it's not with everybody, but it happens on a regular, consistent basis. And it's not just their emotions. This set of emotions, it's, for me, it's more an energy reading also. Like, that's a different aspect of it. But because I think it's cool, right? Like, I think that's a neat thing about me, I couldn't say yes. I couldn't say yes. How crazy is that? I couldn't admit to myself I like something this about me. So I just know I'm not the only one that does this. I know I'm not. And in order for you to believe better of yourself, start where you are. What are things you like about yourself, and accept it, right? And, maybe every day, just think of 5 things, just even real quick. What are 5 things that I like and accept about myself, and look for them. And then you can start to also grow that and believe bigger and bigger and bigger, and create greater things in your life. So I hope this has been helpful. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. I try to do a video every week, and I would love to hear in the comments maybe something that you're working on, or maybe something new that you discovered that you like about yourself. So until next time, take great care.